All right, everyone get ready, because today we are going deep into the world of making friends as adults.
Ooh, fun.
You guys wanted us to unpack this YouTube video.
Right.
It's by Tam Kaur, and it's called How to Make Friends Easily.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's honestly a total gold mine. She really doesn't just like skim the surface of this topic.
Yeah.
She gets into like the nitty-gritty psychology
Right.
of what makes friendships actually work.
What I thought was so compelling is that she really speaks to like that, kind of awkward introverted person,
Yeah.
like if you don't like small talk,
Right.
she reassures you that it's still possible to build these amazing friendships.
Totally. And she starts off right away with this idea that like totally grabbed my attention.
Okay.
She says you shouldn't be focused on making friends. You should be choosing them. Have you ever thought about it like that?
It's interesting.
It's subtle, but it kind of totally changes the game, I think.
It does, yeah. It's like shifting your mindset from scarcity, like feeling desperate to make any friend, to abundance.
Right.
It's more about attracting the right people into your life.
Yes. And being intentional about it, too.
Totally.
It's like dating, right? You wouldn't just date anyone who walked by.
Right.
You would have like a sense of what you're looking for in a partner.
Right.
And she's saying we should bring that same kind of like discernment to our friendship.
And I like that, yeah.
But what's cool is she doesn't just leave you hanging with just the concept, right?
Yeah.
She dives into the specific qualities that make for a healthy friendship.
She does. She outlines 7 key ingredients: positivity, trust, respect, good listening, vulnerability, alignment in values, and effort and communication.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
They all sound really important.
Yeah, they're all super important. But I think, the vulnerability piece is really what helps make those deep connections.
Yeah. I think sometimes we underestimate how important it is to like let our guard down and like really show our true selves to our friends. But it can be so terrifying to do that.
It is scary. It is scary. But here's the thing. Vulnerability actually creates safety. When you think about it, when you share something personal, you're giving your friends permission to do the same.
Oh, interesting.
So it builds trust and intimacy. And even on a neurological level, when we open up to someone, it triggers the release of oxytocin.
Oh, wow.
The cuddle hormone. It promotes closeness.
Okay, so I'm starting to get how vulnerability works.
Yeah.
But like, what about when past friendships have like totally left you feeling burned?
Ooh.
For me, there have been times when I've been betrayed or felt abandoned by friends, and it makes it so hard to like open up again.
You're hitting on another amazing point that Kaur makes the friendship wound.
Oh, okay.
Those past experiences, especially the ones that involve betrayal, they can actually create trauma that we carry with us.
So it's like, invisible baggage that we were bringing to our current relationships.
Exactly. It can sabotage our connections without us even realizing it.
Yeah.
Kaur actually shares how past trauma led her to isolate herself.
Oh, wow.
She was avoiding getting close to others because she was afraid of getting hurt again.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So like, how do we even begin to heal that friendship wound? It feels like something that would take years of therapy.
Well, Kaur suggests some practical steps we can start taking. Like right now, first, forgiveness. Yeah. This means forgiving yourself for any past mistakes and also forgiving those who have hurt you.
Okay, so it's not about condoning bad behavior, but it's about like releasing the negative energy.
Exactly.
So you can move forward.
Okay.
She also talks about understanding your attachment style.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Basically, attachment style is the way we learn to relate to others in early childhood. And it impacts how we approach relationships, including friendships.
There are a few main attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful avoidant.
Wow.
So, for example, if you have an anxious attachment style, you might worry a lot about whether your friends like you.
Right.
Or if they're going to abandon you.
Yeah.
Understanding your attachment style can help you recognize those patterns and then make choices that support healthier connections.
So it's like becoming aware of your like default settings.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of work with them
Totally.
instead of against them.
Exactly. And Kaur also talks about the importance of defining your friendship mission.
Yes. This part really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of formal, but it's not like writing up a business plan or anything.
Yeah,
right?
Not at all. It's more about getting clear on what you want your friendships to look and feel like.
Okay.
What values are important.
Yeah.
What activities do you want to share with your friends? How do you want to support each other?
Yeah.
Taking the time to answer these questions can help you attract the right people.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about mindset and healing past wounds, but I think we all made some pretty common mistakes when it comes to making friends, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are some of the pitfalls Kaur highlights that we should be aware of?
Well, one that I think a lot of people struggle with is this tendency to expect perfection
Ugh,
from our friends and from ourselves.
especially in the age of social media, it's so hard
Oh, totally.
to not feel that pressure, to have the perfect Instagram-worthy friendship.
Right. And it's like we forget that real life is just messy and imperfect.
Yeah, totally. We're all just humans.
Yeah.
And Kaur reminds us that expecting perfection from ourselves or others only sets us up for disappointment.
Yes. Instead, we should embrace imperfection and accept that everyone makes mistakes.
Absolutely. Another mistake I know I'm guilty of is making excuses.
Ooh, tell me about it.
Like, I'm too busy, I'm too introverted.
Yeah.
Making friends is just too hard.
It's easier to stay in our comfort zones
It is.
than to actually put ourselves out there.
But Kaur challenges us to push past those limiting beliefs, right?
She does. Even if it feels really uncomfortable at first,
Yeah.
remember, growth happens outside of our comfort zones.
It does. It does. I also have a really bad habit of trying to be someone I'm not.
Oh.
To try to fit in
Yeah.
or impress a potential friend.
Right.
And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, especially when they're feeling insecure. You
Yeah.
fall into the people-pleasing trap.
Exactly.
But Kaur points out that this is exhausting and unsustainable.
Right.
True connection comes from being your authentic self.
Right.
Quirks and all.
Yeah, I mean, think about the friends you really cherish.
Yeah,
They love you for who you are, not who you're pretending to be.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the internal roadblocks to making friends.
Yeah.
But what about the practical stuff?
Right.
Where do we actually go to meet people?
Especially as adults, right?
Yeah. It feels like so much harder than when we were kids.
It does, yeah.
Kaur has some really practical suggestions.
Oh, good.
And one that I think is particularly helpful is this advice to become a regular somewhere.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Like finding your spot at your coffee shop or your bookstore.
Yes, like your place where you feel comfortable and you can kind of become a familiar face.
Yeah.
Because by doing that, you increase your chances of striking up conversations and building relationships organically.
Right. It takes the pressure off of
Yeah.
feeling like you have to perform or be on all the time.
You can just be yourself and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
She also talks about the power of joining classes or groups that align with your interests.
Right.
Like, yoga, book clubs, hiking.
Yeah.
That's great because you're automatically connecting with people who share your passions.
Right.
Gives you something to talk about.
Totally.
A built-in sense of community.
Yeah. And don't forget about social media.
Oh, yeah.
Apps like Bumble BFF or just connecting on Instagram or TikTok.
Okay, so now I'm feeling a little more hopeful about meeting people.
Good.
But what about actually talking to them?
Oh.
Sometimes I freeze up and I just don't know what to say.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if I'm feeling anxious.
It's true. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
But Kaur emphasizes that just being in these places isn't enough.
Okay.
You also have to be proactive and engage with people.
Right.
And she has this super interesting strategy for those conversations.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Okay, so it's all about shifting the focus away from yourself and your own awkwardness and onto the other person. You want to make them feel seen and understood.
Yeah.
So it's not about trying to be super witty or charming or anything. It's about being genuinely interested in the other person.
Okay.
And one of the simplest but most effective ways to do that is to just ask thoughtful questions. And really listen to their responses.
Yeah.
She actually breaks down an example of how this might play out in a coffee shop.
Oh, cool.
It's really fascinating.
What happens?
Okay, so the person she's talking to isn't very talkative.
Mm-hmm.
They give mostly one-word answers.
Okay.
But instead of getting discouraged, Kaur keeps asking questions.
Right.
And actively listens to what they are saying.
Okay.
Even if it's just a few words.
Yeah.
And by doing that, she creates this sense of connection, even though it's a pretty one-sided conversation.
That's a good point. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to be interesting and entertaining in social situations.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the real key is just to make the other person feel heard and valued.
I think you're so right.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Kaur's final point, which is all about how to be more likable.
Okay. I got to say, when I first heard that, I was a little skeptical.
Me too.
It sounded like, she was going to give us a bunch of cheesy pickup artist tricks or something.
Right, like here's how to manipulate people.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have to say her approach is way more nuanced and genuine.
It is. It's not about manipulation at all. It's
Right.
about using psychology in a positive way.
Exactly.
To create those initial sparks of connection.
Yeah, and one technique that really stood out to me was this idea of repeating back what someone has said.
Oh, interesting.
It seems so simple, but it's so powerful.
So if someone tells you about their weekend,
Uh-huh.
you could say something like, oh, you went hiking. That sounds amazing. What trail did you go on?
Right.
It shows that you're actually paying attention.
Totally.
And you care about what they have to say.
Exactly. And it helps you remember so you can ask follow-up questions later.
Right.
And keep the conversation flowing.
Yeah.
Another thing she mentions is just to be easygoing and radiate positive energy.
Okay.
It sounds cheesy,
Yeah.
but it really makes a difference.
It's true. When you think about the people you enjoy spending time with,
Yeah.
they're usually pretty upbeat and positive, right?
Right. It's like their energy is contagious.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Kaur also encourages us to be willing to, laugh at ourselves, even share an embarrassing story or two.
It's a good one.
Because when you're willing to be open and show your flaws,
Yeah.
it makes other people feel more comfortable doing the same.
Right. It breaks down those walls of perfectionism.
Yeah.
It creates a space for genuine connection.
I'm reminded of this study by researchers at Harvard.
Oh, wow.
They found that people who are willing to share embarrassing stories are actually perceived as more likable.
Really?
Yeah. And trustworthy.
I would never guess that.
It seems so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense when you think about it.
It does.
Okay, so one last thing Kaur mentions that I thought was really clever
Okay.
is this idea of asking for advice.
Oh, yeah. That's a good word.
Not only does it, flatter the other person
Right.
and make them feel like an expert,
Mm-hmm.
but it also creates this sense of shared experience.
Yeah, like you're in it together.
Yeah, you're saying, hey, you have wisdom that I value.
Right?
Yeah. I've never thought about it like that.
It's true.
But it is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to try that one.
Yeah.
Well, we covered a lot of ground with this video.
We did. We talked about mindset, qualities of healthy friendships, healing past trauma,
Yeah.
common mistakes, where to meet people, how to start conversations, and even how to be more likable.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is this idea of choosing friends, not making them.
It's such a simple shift.
It is.
But it's so empowering.
It really is.
Yeah.
It means you're not at the mercy of fate or
Right.
circumstance.
Yeah.
You have the power to create the friendships you want in your life.
And it takes the pressure off of trying to be friends with everyone or fitting in with a certain group.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about knowing your worth
Mm-hmm.
and attracting people who appreciate you for who you are.
Yes.
And remember, choosing friends also means setting boundaries.
Oh, right.
You don't have to settle for relationships that drain you.
Right.
Right.
Or make you feel bad about yourself.
That is so important.
Yeah,
We get to decide who we let into our inner circle.
for sure.
Okay, but let's be real.
Yeah.
Putting all of this advice into practice
Mm-hmm.
can feel a little overwhelming.
It can.
Where do you even start?
Right. It's especially daunting if you have social anxiety
Yeah.
or if you've been hurt in the past.
Yeah.
But remember, it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do everything at once.
Okay.
Just pick one or two things that resonate with you
Right.
and focus on those.
Okay.
Maybe you start by working on your friendship mission.
Right.
Or you commit to becoming a regular at your favorite coffee shop.
Yeah.
The key is just to take action, even
Yeah.
if it's just a baby step.
Okay, and it's okay if not every attempt is successful, right?
Exactly. You're going to encounter rejection.
Yeah,
It's part of life.
it's true.
But the more you put yourself out there, the more comfortable you become with the possibility of rejection.
It's like building that resilience muscle. Someone else's no doesn't diminish your worth.
Exactly.
Yeah. And building genuine friendships takes time.
It does.
It's not like you can snap your fingers and have a whole squad of besties
Right.
overnight.
It's about nurturing those connections,
Yeah.
investing in them, allowing them to grow.
It's like planting a garden.
Ooh, I love that
You
analogy.
got to tend to it, water it, give it time to blossom.
Yeah.
So let's recap some key takeaways.
Okay.
For me, the biggest one is the importance of mindset.
Oh.
Approaching friendships from a place of abundance rather than scarcity can totally change your experience.
It really can. It's like shifting from fear and lack
Yeah.
to possibility and confidence.
Yes. And another takeaway is the power of vulnerability. It takes courage to let your guard down
It does.
and show your true self, but it's the foundation of those deep connections.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to take action.
Yes.
It's not enough to just think about wanting more friends.
Eh.
You have to put yourself out there and actually engage with people.
For sure.
You know, it strikes me that Kaur focuses mainly on what you as an individual could do to build friendships. But what about the role of society and cultural norms
That's a great point.
in shaping our experiences?
Our culture definitely influences our expectations of friendships, the way we connect, and even the challenges we face.
Right. Like in some cultures, friendships are seen as more transactional,
Yeah.
while in others, they're deeply rooted in like shared values.
Right.
And think about how like gender roles or social class can affect who we befriend
Yeah.
and how we interact with each other.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're so right. We can't ignore the larger context.
Yeah.
So as you're putting her advice into practice, I encourage you to also consider these societal factors.
Okay.
How have they shaped your own experiences?
Right.
And how can we create a culture that supports healthy connections for everyone?
Yeah, it's like zooming out from the individual to the societal level.
Exactly. Friendships aren't just personal. They're political, too.
Okay, before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a few final thoughts.
All right.
We've talked a lot about how to make friends, but what about the why?
Right.
Why are friendships so
Yeah,
important?
that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think they're essential to our well-being,
Yeah.
our sense of belonging.
Yeah.
They provide us with love, support, companionship, and a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
They help us navigate the ups and downs of life.
Yeah. And they make the journey more enjoyable.
So much more enjoyable.
And when we invest in our friendships, we're not just investing in ourselves, we're investing in our communities
Yeah.
and the world.
Beautifully said.
Right.
Yeah,
Because friendships have a ripple effect.
they do.
When we create strong, healthy connections, we create a more loving world.
Absolutely.
So as you go forth into the world, armed with Kaur's wisdom
Mm-hmm.
and your own insights, remember, you have the power to create the friendships you crave.
You do.
It might take some effort,
Yeah.
some vulnerability, maybe some trial and error,
Right.
but the rewards are huge.
They are.
They are.
So true.
You know, we spent so much time talking about finding and choosing friends.
Yeah.
And it's got me thinking,
Okay.
you know, we find them,
Mm-hmm.
we choose them,
Yeah.
but then what?
Right.
Like, how do we keep those friendships thriving?
That's the question, right?
How do we make sure they don't fizzle out?
It's like tending a garden, you know? You carefully select the seeds, plant them in fertile soil,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't water them, weed them, give them sunlight,
Right.
they're going to die.
You're going to wither away.
Yeah.
Right.
Friendships need that same care.
Okay, so what are some things we can do
Yeah.
to nurture those friendships and make sure those connections stay strong?
Well, I think first and foremost, consistency is key.
Okay.
I mean, life gets busy, but we have to make time for our friends,
Yeah.
even when our schedules are packed.
Right.
So this could mean like scheduling regular phone calls or video chats, blocking out time for a coffee date,
Yeah.
or even just sending a quick text to let them know you're thinking of them.
Those little gestures go a long way.
They do.
I know for me, when a friend sends me a random text
Yeah.
just to say hi, it really brightens my day.
Totally. It's like a little deposit in the emotional bank account
Exactly.
of your friendship.
And it's not just about like the big gestures or elaborate plans, right?
Right. It's about those small, everyday acts
Yeah.
of kindness and connection.
What are some other examples of those small deposits?
Well, it could be something as simple as remembering their birthday,
Oh, yeah.
sending them an article you think they'd enjoy, or offering to pick up their dry cleaning when you're running errands.
Right.
Just little things.
To show that you care.
Yeah, that you're paying attention.
And of course, being a good listener is huge.
So important.
Really being there for your friends when they're going through a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
Offering support, encouragement, and
Yeah.
truly listening to what they have to say.
Absolutely. Active listening is one
Yeah.
of the best gifts you can give a friend.
It creates that safe space
It does.
where they feel comfortable opening up
Totally.
without judgment.
Yeah.
But sometimes friendships hit those rough patches.
Yeah, of course.
Disagreements happen.
Mm-hmm.
Misunderstandings come up.
It's normal.
How do we navigate those situations
Yeah.
without, like, damaging the relationship.
Conflict is a natural part of any close relationship.
Okay.
It's how we handle it that matters.
Yeah.
I think the key is to address those conflicts or misunderstandings directly and honestly,
Right.
rather than letting them fester
Yeah.
and potentially poison the friendship.
So no more passive-aggressive texts or sweeping things under the rug.
Exactly. It's about having those tough conversations with empathy and compassion, being willing to see their perspective and find a solution that works for both of you.
So it sounds like communication is really at the heart of maintaining those strong friendships.
It really is.
Yeah.
Clear, honest, and compassionate communication.
Yeah.
That's the foundation.
And finally, I think it's important to celebrate our friendships.
Yes.
To acknowledge the good times, express gratitude for our friends, and let them know how much they mean to us.
I love that. Because friendships are so precious.
They are.
They enrich our lives in so many ways. They deserve to be cherished.
Wow, this has been such a good conversation.
It has.
We started with this YouTube video.
Yeah.
And we explored everything from mindset and vulnerability to the psychology of likability and even societal context.
It's been a journey.
It has. And I think the biggest takeaway is that you have the power to create meaningful friendships in your life.
Absolutely.
It might take some effort, some intentionality, a willingness to be open and vulnerable. But the rewards are huge.
They are immeasurable.
So true. And to you listening, I hope this deep dive has inspired you to take action.
Yeah.
Whether it's reaching out to an old friend, joining a new group, or just being more intentional in your daily interactions.
Yeah, right.
Remember that connection is possible.
It is.
Go out there and create those friendships you deserve.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep learning.